So after taking orders from Donald Trump and killing their own rule to debate the reauthorization of FISA, which is a gift to enemies abroad, terrorists abroad, those who wish us ill abroad, Russia, Saudi Arabia, others who are trying to cause harm to the United States, the MAGA Republicans issued a list of their priorities for next week. These are the rules that are passing in the House of Representatives, and these are the things that MAGA Republicans want to discuss. As Representative Don Bayer points out, this is real. This is actually what Republicans are preparing to spend next week on in the House, really. H.R. 6192 hands off our Home Appliances Act, H.R. 7673, Liberty in Laundry Act, 7645, Clothes Dryers Reliability Act, 7637, Refrigerator Freedom Act, 7626, Affordable Air Conditioning Act, 7700, Stop Unaffordable Dishwasher Standards Act, and that's added to the resolution they wanted to pass last week to rename Dulles International Airport Trump International Airport. This as MAGA Republicans refuse to do the most basic tasks. They refuse to fund our allies abroad. They refuse to provide aid to Ukraine. They refuse to provide the necessary funding here. They can't pass any legislation at all. Here is MAGA Mike Johnson being asked some basic questions like, what do you want to talk to the president about? And just kind of walking away and says, I have a lot of important things to discuss. Here, play this clip.
What are you going to talk to the president about? Can you think you can help us get something on Ukraine or also on the FISA bill?
We have a lot of things to discuss, talk to him frequently, so looking forward to seeing him in person.
Right now.
And at this point, the Democrats are just laughing in the face of these MAGA Republicans. I mean, look, I think everybody realized the dangers, how deeply serious this is, but the MAGA Republicans are so deeply unserious and bizarre people. Even the Democrats can't help but laugh in their faces. Like here, Democratic Congressmember Jamie Raskin is quite literally laughing in MAGA Republican James Comer's face. Comer chairs, of course, the Oversight Committee where they do hearings and they show the nudes of Hunter Biden. Watch this moment. Play the clip.
I agree, we deserve transparency. Hopefully in our investigations, the administration will turn over the pseudonym emails and the her tapes and all the other items of relevance to our other investigation that we have ongoing. With respect to
is that one still ongoing? I wasn't sure.
Yes, it's
it is.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. You need to stop watching CNN. You need to go to Main Street and ask people.
And literally, it's just Democrats laughing at him. Here is where James Comer, MAGA Republican, has to turn over the time to Democratic Congressmember Jared Moskowitz. And Comer is like so fearful of Moskowitz at this point, and Moskowitz is so in his head, you can just tell how just fearful he is to even call on Moskowitz, and then just more laughing in James Comer's face. Watch this.
They've called votes, but we're going to try to go to Mr. Conley and then Mr. Donalds, and then we'll these just two votes. Won't take long. We'll be right back. We'll recess.
Chairman, I think Mr. Moskowitz is ahead of me.
We'll go to Moskowitz then.
Don't worry, Mr. Chairman. It won't be the usual.
James Comer then gave an interview and said what a great member Marjorie Taylor Greene is in her leadership within the Oversight Committee. The MAGA Republicans have given Marjorie Taylor Greene major powers over you and your family. That's who MAGA is. Play this clip.
What do you make of the chaos that Marjorie Taylor Greene is causing Republicans in the House right now?
Well, she's a great member of the House Oversight Committee. She's frustrated. I think there are a lot of us that are frustrated. I would encourage us to try to somehow get together. You know, we have to work together as a conference. I think Marjorie knows that. I don't think she's going to pull the trigger unless there's a consensus person to replace Mike Johnson. So right now, I think she's more sending a message to the Speaker that she wishes he would be a little more conservative.
Okay, Congress.
Then Marjorie Taylor Greene gave an interview where she told right-wing media she's very focused on why advertisers are leaving OAN and other right-wing media. And that's what she wants to investigate, and she's hoping she could chair some committees in the House of Representatives. Play the clip.
That's my call to action to you personally, Marjorie. Can we count on you?
Oh, yes, of course, Dan. You can always count on me. Unfortunately, I don't chair a committee, but you have my full support. And if one of our committees will actually take that up, and I think we should, it should be one of the most important things we do, protecting the free speech of Americans like yourself and protecting free press, which is your company and the company that's been under attack by the Democrats. They've literally been trying to destroy you, take you off the air, hurt your advertisers, and keep everyone away from you. Yes, of course, you have my support. You always.
Moving on to MAGA Republican Paul Gosar. He and many other MAGA Republicans are still pushing ivermectin, even though it's been proven to be dangerous and lethal, and it's horse medication. And what in the world are they even talking about? While they spread lies about vaccines and they spread lies about actual medical procedure that's been researched. But here Paul Gosar is like going after the FDA commissioner, and the FDA commissioner is like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Here, play this clip.
I get that, but why did you have to retract everything you said about ivermectin? Because your office came out against ivermectin. Now, I agree that there's some problems in the manufacturing of that dosage, but if in doubt, leave it out.
Well, we didn't retract everything we had to say about ivermectin. And in fact, you posited that we had an attack against ivermectin. Drugs are not.
I hope the courts are watching this right now because they ordered you to.
If you look at the randomized trials of ivermectin, and there are many of them now, there is no benefit of ivermectin in the treatment of COVID. That's a statement, just a fact. And any drug for which there's no benefit and there are risks, people have to make their own decisions about what to do. What we're not doing is telling doctors what they have to do. Doctors have the right to prescribe off-label.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair, now.
Next up, we got MAGA Republican Congress member Dan Bishop, who he spends his time during this committee hearing whining that the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch have been taken over by the left. That's one of the things that that Murdoch is actually a secret agent of the left right now. Play this clip.
But there's another thing here, and I think about the presence of Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger, a lot of the independence of journalists. Ms. Herridge, nevertheless, my observation, and I'm a Republican, so it's partisan, I guess, in part. But I think, you look at the stats, I would suggest the American people see it this way. CBS News is among the corporate behemoth media outlets, all of which seem to be captured by one side of the American political spectrum. You've worked for one of those. Maybe Fox News is one on the other side, but CBS, NBC, Wall Street Journal, largely, yes. Washington Post, New York Times, all of big media seems to be captured by one side.
I like to cook. It's a great way to unwind after a long day, but going food shopping and getting all the ingredients can be super time consuming. I finally found a better way with Marley Spoon. This podcast is sponsored by Marley Spoon. Marley Spoon knows bland food is boring, so they created the best tasting meal kit money could buy. And with my code Meidas, you could get up to 25 free meals. With Marley Spoon, you could choose from over 100 delicious recipes every week, from Cajun spiced chicken to poached salmon to butternut squash gnocchi to a vegan burrito bowl. My favorite recent meal from Marley Spoon was their Cajun spiced chicken. It is absolutely incredible, and many of the recipes are completely customizable. Whether you're looking for vegetarian meals, family-friendly dishes, or low-carb options, Marley Spoon has the food you want to eat. Marley Spoon even has an in-house registered dietitian who actually assesses every recipe, so it takes the guesswork out of eating healthy. There's something really rewarding about cooking food yourself and it tasting amazing versus doing expensive, unhealthy takeout. Marley Spoon also saves you from making that that extra grocery haul with their online market of pantry essentials. You could shop their selection of 125 plus items like seasonal produce, ready-to-heat options, meal shortcuts, extra proteins, and handy snacks, and easily add them to your next Marley Spoon box. With meal planning and food shopping taken care of, making delicious food at home has finally become effortless. Plus, with Marley Spoon, you aren't locked in long term. Marley Spoon's flexible subscription allows you to edit, pause, or cancel your boxes anytime. So experience the most personalized meal kit today with Marley Spoon. Head to marleyspoon.com/offer/Meidas and use code Meidas, that's MEIDAS, for up to 25 free meals. You heard me right. Up to 25 free meals with Marley Spoon. One last time, that's marleyspoon.com/offer/Meidas for up to 25 free meals. And make sure you use my promo code Meidas, MEIDAS, so they know that I sent you.
Going back to some of the things on right-wing media, this was a segment Newsmax was doing as they were doing some of these interviews that I was just showing you. And Newsmax says, and look, President Biden didn't know that Africa is a country. Play this clip.
A well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, and he gave us examples. He said that Biden didn't know that Africa was a country. He couldn't remember the year that his son died. He didn't know the last names of staff members. He forgot when he was vice president. All very embarrassing stuff. How are you going to get those tapes?
Well, we're going to continue to go through the legal process.
Former Republican Congress member and Fox host Trey Gowdy then talks about how Donald Trump has no understanding of even what FISA is. And Donald Trump thought that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, Section 702, which is what's up for reauthorization, had to deal with like domestic surveillance when it involves foreign surveillance, and it's one of the main tools that's used to stop terrorists, stop threats to our country. And this is what Trump is saying, to kill FISA and kill these bills. And Gowdy tells this absurd story about how Pompeo had to drive to Trump and tell him what you need to do. The whole thing is a mess. Play this clip.
The other issue, you may recall, Brett, the president once before, President Trump tweeted out that we should oppose reauthorization because he watched a legal commentator who used to be on Fox complain about FISA. Pompeo had to go get in the car and drive over there and flip the president's position. So he sent out another tweet before we voted. I don't hear his former national security advisors opposing reauthorization. So I hear him doing it, but I don't hear the people that he put in charge of keeping our country safe opposed to this reauthorization.
Going back to Fox there for a moment, then they had like 3 men on Fox Business, and they spent their time saying that, quote, "It is not the worst thing in the world to force a woman to leave the state that she lives in order to get reproductive care." And they kind of like laugh and joke about it. So you got 3 men on Fox Business saying it's not that bad for a woman that reproductive rights and reproductive health care is criminalized, and say, I could just get on a bus. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, vile things, vile stuff to have men like this on Fox spewing this nonsense. Play this clip.
I mean, this is tricky business. How does this play out?
It hurts Trump for a few days, and then people start to realize this is not the worst thing in the world.
He may come out. He'll come out against us. Oh, no, maybe he won't. But remember, his point was the legislature, Mark. He didn't mention the court. So this is tricky. State Supreme Court, does that qualify as a state decision?
Yeah, that's what it is to be pro-choice. Yeah. The states can decide. If you had to travel to another state to get an abortion, it's not the worst thing in the world. Hopefully, this is a very rare occurrence in your life. Once in your life, maybe you would do it. Buying a bus ticket to go somewhere to get it is not the worst thing in the world.
To your point. Now going to Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. She makes a great point right here during the committee hearing. She's a superstar. Play this clip.
Really understand. The last area that I'm going to touch on in my last 45 seconds, because I am a woman out of the state of Texas, there's no way that I am going to have a conversation and not talk about reproductive access. So out of curiosity, would you consider the medical management of a miscarriage to be potentially a life-saving usage? Yes or no?
I have to decline to answer that because
that is perfectly fine.
Adjudication by the Supreme Court.
That is perfectly fine. I'm gonna tell you yes, but I'm gonna give you another question that you can answer. Would you consider erectile dysfunction as a life-saving usage for Viagra?
Not life-saving.
Not life-saving. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that based on my research, that mifepristone actually has life-saving characteristics, yet Viagra doesn't. And for those that don't know, Viagra, from my understanding, is actually nearly 10 times greater as it relates to risk of death. Yet for some reason, it's not sitting in the court right now. And I do appreciate the fact that you laid out that when it comes down to getting drugs approved, they actually go through trials. It's not just randomness. You take the randomness, you then say, maybe there's some evidence here, and then you put it through the ringer. After putting it through the ringer for decades, women's lives have been saved. And as a representative from the area that Roe v. Wade actually initiated, I am appalled because for whatever reason, some people want us to go back to horse and buggy in this country. And I think since now maybe we have the internet, maybe we should take advantage of it. And we shouldn't say that we should remain in the times of horse and buggy. And so with that, thank you for the work that the FDA does. I respect your research. I recognize that the courts don't do research. I also recognize that this chamber seemingly doesn't care about research. But because of the work that you do, there are lives that are being saved. And I need you to be funded to the fullest extent to make sure that we can continue to save American lives. Thank you.
Here is Democratic Congress member McGovern. Listen to what he has to say about how incompetent the MAGA Republicans are, and it's been the most incompetent majority in the House he's ever seen. Play this clip.
This is the most ineffective, incompetent majority, I think, in American history. Full stop. It has been nearly an entire year almost, since anything that we have done in the Rules Committee has gone to the president's desk. And the last time it did happen, it was with Democratic votes. Republicans have tried and failed to pass their own rules 7 times this Congress. 7 times this House has been stuck at a standstill because of their infighting. Before this Congress, it had been 20 years since a rule failed. It's been 50 years, half a century, since we've seen this many rules go down. And Republicans have done it 7 times. 1 or 2, 3 times maybe, that's just incompetence. But 7? 7 is a disaster. 7 is paralysis. It means weeks and weeks of sitting around doing nothing because Republicans can't get their house in order and do their job.
Finally, here is a clip from my interview on Thursday that I did with Democratic Congress member Jared Moskowitz. Play the clip.
And so Donald's like, I have a great idea. I'm going to go out, I'm going to announce my policy of leaving it to the states. And then Arizona, you go to the next day and tell people how you feel. And Arizona's like, thanks, Donald. Appreciate you leaving it to us. We feel that we want to bring back the policies of 1864, which was right around the time that Abraham Lincoln was buying theater tickets. That's when, John Wilkes Booth became a popular figure in American culture. That is what, Donald Trump stands for. So they're running away from it, running away from this abortion issue, women's rights, women's health care. They know they're in trouble. You can just see it. They freaked out over the IVF issue. Now they're freaking out over Arizona. As it turns out, right, we are now finding out exactly where they are. Again, I appreciate their honesty, telling the American people, telling women where they stand. And that is bringing back the policies of 175 years ago.
I think you see the difference there between your MAGA Republicans and your Democrats. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Have a wonderful day.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.